is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That's a band none of you remember but me and the guy on the line. That's Three-Legged Dog with Frozen Summer. It featured Vinny Appice on drums. It featured Jimmy Bain on bass guitar. It's one of my favorites that never got its due. But we're not here to talk about that one today. I just played that one just as a good lead-in. Instead, we're going to talk about Vinny's his current band, Last in Line. They have a brand new album simply called Two. It is fantastic. And on the line right now, we have the legend himself, drummer Vinny Appice. Vinny, how are you, man?
I'm good, Chris. Nice to be here. Thanks for that spectacular introduction. Oh, my God.
Well, Vinny, I've talked to you about this Three-Legged Dog before, man. It still baffles me that record did not get a lot more love than it did. It was just such a great record.
I know, and I think what happened was it was just we didn't have a manager really, and we just kind of did the record, and it was out. I forgot. I don't even know what the label was. Paris Records or something. It was more of a distribution deal, so there was no real promotion plan, and there was no real publicity on it to get the word out that check out this new record. It was Jimmy Bain on bass, me on drums, Carlos Cavazzo. So we had some name power in the band, and the record came out great, but it was just the business end of it wasn't there, and that's what happened. And
it does happen sometimes, but you're back in a similar sort of band with name recognition in the band, and certainly Last in Line, you guys, I guess to put it as bluntly as I can, first record, great record, but you guys really had your ups and downs with that debut, and not necessarily from a performance standpoint or, anything like that, but I mean, certainly with Jimmy passing away right as the thing was starting, it really put the project, in a real state of flux, no?
Oh, yeah, because Jimmy passed away in January, right before the album release.
Right.
And up until that point, we probably did about 6 or 7 gigs total. And then we got a record deal from our manager, Steve Strange, with Frontiers Records. And then we worked on the record. And that took a while, Mm-hmm. And then finally, when the record was planning to be released, and we were going to do a whole bunch of dates, that's when Jimmy passed. And It was like, oh, Jesus. So it was shocking to all of us. And, Jimmy was like a brother. And so we had to rethink. We had to cancel the dates we had and then just take a little time to let it sink in and then decide what we're going to do. And then we figured, well, Jimmy would want us to continue.
Sure.
He wouldn't want us to sit idle and not support this music and create more music. So we decided to continue. Sure. And then we held bass auditions, and Phil came down and he just nailed it. We all know Phil for years, and he's a great guy and great bass player and writer. And so, the funny thing is he even looks like Jimmy even from far away. Sure. When he first started playing with his people, were going, wow, it's really weird. He looks like Jimmy playing bass,
Right.
So it really fit in well together. And then we did like a year and a half of touring on and off. And we became really tight as a band. And when it came time to do the next album, which was this one, Last in Line 2, it was easy. It was easy writing, because we got tight as a band.
Sure.
Really tight. Yeah.
Sure.
And we get along great, too. So.
Well, that's excellent. Well, but before we move quite into 2, I just have to ask you one more question about Jimmy and that whole beginning. For people that probably don't remember, you guys were on the cruise when Jimmy passed, and I have wondered, I haven't talked to you since then, that had to be unbelievably difficult. One, to perform, because you guys still, performed, but I mean, especially you, who's worked with Jimmy for however many years now, you're grieving the loss of your friend, and you're stuck on a boat where you can't really get away from anybody. That had to be unbelievably hard all the way around, no?
Oh, yeah. It was shocking and it was hard. And, before we did the cruise, the week before, we rehearsed with Jimmy, and he said he had pneumonia, and he looked pretty sick, and skin color and everything. But he made it to rehearsal. He sat down. He didn't stand up, and we played through for 3 hours, 4 hours, for 3 or 4 days. And he did that. He's a trooper. Then got on the plane. Meanwhile, he's dying of cancer. You know? So got on the plane, made it to Florida, and then we were scheduled to play on Sunday. So the cruise left on Friday. And right before Def Leppard was going on, one of the girls came down crying. Jimmy, it's Jimmy. And for some reason, I knew.
Okay.
When I saw that, it just came to me that this is the day Jimmy's passed. And that's what happened. And I went up to check it out. And I saw Jimmy in the room, you know, and shit, you know.
Right.
So, but he went out as a rock star. He was all dressed up. He had velvet pants on. He had his chains on. He had his rock shirt on. He rocked out to the end. God bless him.
And you would not expect it to be any other way with him now, would you?
No. Yeah. He didn't wind up in the hospital getting treatment, and he wound up to the very end
being a rocker,
you know, rocking out.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Well, let's get off this topic. I just needed to ask a couple on that because I definitely want to talk about this new record too. It's it's definitely, even if you didn't really know the first record, but you'd heard it, there is substantial growth between the first record and this one. You guys sound a lot more tight, a lot more like a band, and it just sounds like you're much more cohesive writing, you know, as a writing team. So talk a little bit about that for you. Do you feel like it's a big step forward?
Yes, I do. And the songs are a little bit more polished, you know, but staying heavy. And we were able to. Phil's a different type of bass player. You know, he's more of a rocker, but he's more melodic. So the bass lines in it move a little bit more. Jimmy played differently. Jimmy played just the foundation. You know, he didn't do a lot of bass runs. He wasn't that type. He just held down the foundation, and it locked in with me, and I was able to go crazy on the fills and stuff. Sure. This album did some of the stuff. I'll do fills, and then I'll tell Phil, you know, maybe you could follow that fill that I did. So, and so Phil's a little bit more melodic, which gave it a little bit more of a, you know, opened it up a little bit more musically. And we were able to write very well together, you know, probably because we did a lot of touring prior to that album, writing sessions, you know. We were on the road a lot playing this stuff, playing the, you know, the set list we were playing at the time. So that made us pretty tight and pretty strong. So it was easy to, you know, put it together that way.
Sure. Now, when you guys were out touring, did you do any writing, you know, once Phil first came into the band, or did you wait until all the touring was done before you started writing?
We basically waited till everything was done.
Okay.
Because it's such a hectic thing, you know, on this level of touring.
Sure.
You know, we're not on a tour bus the whole time, and you know, the comfort level is not as great as being a big band. So we waited till we got home, and then took some time off, and then we did it. We didn't do it all at once. You know, we got together because Viv had a schedule to deal with, and we would do, you know, 2 days writing, sometimes 3. Okay, then a month would go by, then we'd do it again, and then some time would go by, we'd do it again. And we didn't do it all in one thing. We probably did it in 5 different sessions and wrote enough stuff that way. It was a good way to do it because you don't, you know, it gives you time to listen to what you did and not repeat yourself and things like that. So
as a musician, though, I also have to wonder, does it not leave you never feeling finished? Because I know how you guys are. None of you guys ever think that you've played it well enough or written the perfect spot or the perfect fill or anything. Does having that much time leave you constantly working on stuff?
Well, having that much time, you listen to we recorded everything, in the rehearsal studio. So it gives you time to think, well, maybe we should go to a different part. And then when we get together, we'll try whoever has an idea for the things we did already.
Sure.
So it gave you that kind of time too. But, any album you make and anything, you go, man, I wish I would have did this, is always that factor. And, I wish I could have played this better. But, it's always like that. So
sure, definitely. Now, Vinny, obviously when the band came out, the hype around the band, or the promotion, I guess, was Dio. Was the three of you guys had played with Dio and had the heritage of playing on the biggest Dio records and whatnot, the legendary records. Do you think now, obviously Ronnie's been gone for a number of years now, and you guys have been a band for a number of years now. Do you think now that direct relationship almost hurts the band a little bit? And I don't want to say hurt, because that's not the right word. Can't really be hurt by being associated with Dio, but it doesn't. Right. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, does it not allow the band to grow on its own? Because a lot of people, no matter what, and I guess this is probably directed at Andrew more than you, but a lot of people will automatically look at a band and go, well, that doesn't sound like Dio. You see what I mean? Have you found it to be that way, or not at all?
Well, in the beginning, when we went on tour, we just played all the Dio stuff.
Right.
Complete Dio set list. Then when we recorded the album, the record deal made us become another band, like a real band.
Sure.
Not just out there as a Dio, original guys playing Dio stuff. So then we started putting in some of the songs from the new record into the set. And then when the record came out, when it was out a while, people started to know those songs. There's a couple of songs on the first record, like Devil and Me, that almost got 1 million views on YouTube. People know the song, and Star Maker.
Sure.
So they became kind of semi-little hits of that album. And so we worked that in, and now we put a couple more in from the first record, and now we got a couple in from the new record. So we're developing into a new, a band that's actually moving forward.
Sure. Not
just playing the Dio. So it will always play the classic songs that everybody wants to hear, like Holy Diver, Rainbow in the Dark, and Don't Talk to Strangers, We Rock. We'll always play that.
Sure.
Just like any band, when they have a catalog. Even with Dio, we always had to play those.
Right, sure.
We had to play them. People want to hear them. So it'd be stupid not to play them. Plus, we like playing them.
Sure.
So luckily, this was working. And now, even with the new album, Landslide, we released a video for about two months ago, maybe.
Okay.
We have fans that are fans of the band. So they're going to check out what we're doing, and they know that song. And it's a really cool thing to watch them singing the lyrics and stuff,
Sure. Absolutely.
So we're lucky enough to develop this into a real new band.
Absolutely, man.
With a lot of history. It's a new band with a lot of history.
No kidding. And it's a nice thing to actually see that you guys are you're being creative, and not just in a small way. I would imagine there would be the temptation to just go out there and record maybe 3 songs and then 3 Dio covers or something, just to kind of keep that legacy. But you guys have gone out 2 times in a row and recorded full albums, which is very cool.
Yeah, because that's what that's what we want to do, and the band just plays so great together, and writing is very creative atmosphere with everybody. When we get together, we have 1 million ideas.
Sure. And
everybody's up for trying them. There's never the word can't in the mix.
Sure.
Which is good. You should always try everything.
Absolutely.
And then as far as these other songs, nobody plays these songs like Viv and I. Mm-hmm. Nobody can play. There's other bands doing these Dio songs, so my my saying is, they know the songs, we know all the notes.
Right.
We wrote this shit. No matter what credits on Holy Diver,
Mm-hmm.
things where Ronnie is sole writer, he didn't write the whole song.
Right.
You know, like a song like We Rock, Ronnie is not a guitar player. He couldn't play the intro.
Sure.
Like that, you know. So that was written by Viv, and ideas were thrown in by the whole band. It's just nature of the business that, politics. And it's like, okay, here's the writing schedule, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody can play these songs the way Viv and I can play them together.
Sure.
You know, nobody can do those solos with that feel and just the way the approach is on the chords, everything. So.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense, man. It totally does. Now, now, Vinny, no secret, Def Leppard got elected into the Rock Hall, which is, big news, and I'm sure you guys are thrilled for Viv that,
They did?
Yeah, so we've heard. I'm curious if that, because you guys, I know this wasn't on purpose, or at least I'm assuming it wasn't on purpose, but the timing could not be better for this release to come out. Does that help you guys to, get a little bit of eyes and ears on the band?
Sure. I mean, you got one guy in the band that's getting inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame with one of the biggest bands out there now.
Sure.
And a band that's had a long history. Sure. So there's a lot of press with that, and Vivian's name is out there, and Vivian's associated with this band too. So sure, it's a great thing for us, to have that going, and especially at the same time when this album's coming out.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So
definitely. Now, Vinny, what are the tour plans looking like for the year? I mean, are you doing weekend fly-ins? Or are you going to tour a little bit, like a couple of months, or festivals, or what's it looking like?
Well, we're doing fly-ins mostly until the end of May.
Okay.
And then in June, we're playing Download Festival with Def Leppard.
Okay.
So
cool.
Viv's going to do double duty on that gig.
Nice.
Going to play with us, then headline the whole show later on that evening. And then Def Leppard are busy until September. So sometime in September, we'll start up again. We've got our eyes on maybe South America or Japan and Europe, and then maybe some more touring here, Okay. Because with all the scheduled things we go through, we haven't really played everywhere yet, which is a good thing.
Sure.
Because people are going, when are you going to come? We haven't played Florida. We haven't played certain places in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives us the opportunity to hit some of those places. And so that's a good thing,
Sure. Absolutely. And just one, I'm going to ask this, and I'm not going to ask any hologram questions, and I'm not going to ask you about Dio Disciples or any of that stuff, other than to simply ask, is there going to be a time that you foresee where none of that is a crossover anymore, where people will take them as them and they're doing their thing, whatever it is, and you're doing your thing, whatever that is, and people will not constantly, and I honestly believe it's just a social media thing, but do you think that there will be a time when people will just look at, okay, this is Last in Line, this is Dio Disciples, and not be trying to start wars between y'all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably like that now to some extent because, the Dio Disciples, they didn't, what created Dio was Holy Diver, Last in Line, Sacred Heart.
Right.
Those albums were the foundation of the career of that band. And we were there. We wrote those songs with Ronnie and toured. And we built that to where it was. So we were the original guys. And that's the important albums. The Dio Disciples, Craig played with Ronnie. I played with Craig with Ronnie.
Sure.
And then I left and Simon came in. So they were, kind of like the band that came second.
Sure.
So, and it's just them. And then a lot of the other guys never played with Ronnie,
Sure.
So, it's a different thing. I just look at it as they're a show, a Dio show, a tribute show. And we're the real band.
Sure.
We're the real guys have the connection to what that band was about. So
absolutely,
and they do a great job.
Sure,
they do a great job.
Absolutely, man. Well, you guys do as well, man. And if you need proof of that, all you have to do is grab the new album 2. It's from the band Last in Line. And Vinny, where can people go to find out tour dates and pick up the record and all that good stuff?
You can go to our website. Well, we don't have it on the website right now. It's a pledge campaign, pre-order thing that's going on, and you can order some stuff up there with the album. Some unique things that are not available anywhere else, the usual kind of thing.
Sure.
And then once the album comes out, it'll be in the outlets that are available these days. Amazon, and our site will have some CDs. We usually have CDs on our site that are signed.
Okay. Which
people like. Yeah, there's some of the first Heavy Crown CDs we still have that are up there. So. Yeah.
Very good. Well, Vinny, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the record, maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what would you like us to wrap this one up with?
How about Year of the Gun?
And why that one?
Love that song. I love that song. It's driving, and I like what I played in it. It's like a chorus in a song that has a snare drum that's just like just riding out, and it's unusual that it's a song where I'm playing a beat or a feel or something like that. It's got a really cool snare drum. It's kind of a little similar to We Rock,
Sure.
And I just love the energy in that song.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It's Year of the Gun. It's the Last in Line right here on your Classic Metal Show.